Morning, everyone. Can you guys hear me all right? Morning, good morning. Great. We'll get started here in just a few minutes, guys. I will be right back. Morning, good morning. Just doing a quick mic check if everyone can hear me all right. We will get started here in just a few minutes, guys. Hope everyone's doing good today. We will get started here in the next few minutes, guys.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, Steve, how are you?
Hey, pretty good. How are you?
Good.
Cool.
All right. So, crazy markets, huh?
Man. Back to where we were yesterday at the big pop.
Right.
Hey, good morning, Andrew. What's up, guys? Eugene. What's up, Phil? Daniel.
All right, so let's just get started here. So, morning everyone, welcome back to live trading. This is your first time on live trading, welcome. We use the webinars channel in Slack to communicate. So, kind of crazy markets we're in here. As you guys know, yesterday was the big rebound day, but coincidentally, right, no one on the retail side had accurate market data. You could say that's on purpose, you could say it's an accident, but like Steven said, it's sure as hell a coincidence, right? Because all these algos, all these robots are automatically plugged into the NASDAQ anyway. So they don't have any data issues. Whereas us traders, we take that data feed and, the platforms, give it to us and all that stuff. So I just thought that, like Steven said, it was a hell of a freaking coincidence that that's what happened. And then the other biggest coincidence is that news drop on SPY. So yesterday, guys, we witnessed history. We saw the S&P 500 go from bottom to highs 13% in a matter of, dude, what is that, like 30 minutes?
Yeah,
never
30
seen
minutes.
before, probably never gonna happen again. And it was absolutely unbelievable. It would have been nice if we had some accurate market data though. So then the news came out, it was fake, market came down, and then what ended up happening is somewhere around here, around 11 a.m., Trump came out and said that if China doesn't drop their tariffs by today, he's gonna raise their tariffs even more. Market went down, but if you notice, the market kind of held. It reclaimed that news, and we're gapping up. So what does that mean? Well, that means to me that we have at least bottomed out short term. The way that you could tell, if the market is bottoming or not is twofold. Number one, you break and close above the previous day's highs, right? So we're not there yet, but we're pretty damn close. And number two is the market starts absorbing bad news. So when bad news comes out and the market kind of shrugs it away, that's kind of how you could tell that the market is starting to create a bottoming process. So that's kind of what we're seeing now with the markets. Now, how do we trade this? What's going to happen? What is our game plan? Well, if you guys were here yesterday, this is the plan that I posted yesterday. Yesterday I said, day three of another gap up in the day three of another gap down in the overall markets. Fear is dominating the sentiment, and traders are pricing in 5 rate cuts this year. These are very difficult markets to be trading in. This is not investment advice, but I'd be looking to buy stocks today for the long-term holds for at least 1 year out. Do not do the same if you're not okay with some pain and patience. That's my plan. Looking to buy SPY, QQQ, NVIDIA, Apple, etc. at the market open. So at the market open, S&P went to 490. That's where I got it. At the open, NASDAQ opened up at 410. That's where I got it. At the market open, NVIDIA opened up at 88. That's where I got it. At the market open, Apple opened up at 182. That's where I got it. At market open, Amazon opened up at 166. That's where I got it. Then you go to Microsoft. Microsoft opened up at 350. Meta opened up at 490. Google opened up at 142, and Tesla opened up at 223. So in one day, guys, on my long-term investments, I've already returned nearly 10%. So what usually takes the S&P 500 a year to do, with proper patience, proper timing, and a proper plan, I'm already up 10% on fucking everything, right? And that's the way that you have to do these long-term investments, is when the market is panicking, when there is significant panic, that is when you want to load in. So I'm sitting pretty here, guys. I have great averages and all around, and my plan is not to flip these. Just like Steven said, he didn't participate in the 2008 crisis. He didn't really participate in the 2020 crisis, but he saw that most of the time the market was rebounding and he needed to hold. So that's kind of what my long-term, investing strategy is. I just pick the biggest companies, wait for them to have mega panics like the way that they do, and buy and hold. So I'm sitting at a nice 10% cushion. I'd probably set a stop on those at break even if it gets there. And I had a lot of members that sent me messages yesterday. That's all they did too. They kept it really simple. They just bought when the market opened. They didn't panic, and that's it. So that was the best thing that we could have done yesterday. So if anyone took those trades, great job. You're ahead of the curve. But coming into today, what is our plan? So coming into today, guys, I'm not really focused on small caps again today. Yes, there's some small caps moving, but I think a lot of the opportunity and a lot of the edge is going to be on these mega cap names today. If you guys remember, do you remember when we were trading? Well, we were not really trading, but we were watching SPY and we mentioned the 522 level. Remember how we mentioned 522 that there's got to be a headline here. Is there a headline? There's got to be something, but anyway. So if you guys remember, I think it was on Friday, right? So if you remember on Friday, I mentioned the 522 line, right? So the reason why I mentioned 522 on Friday is if you look, every single time that it pushed 522, it rejected. Looks like Trump is meeting with South Korea. Someone could confirm. 1 second, posting here. I had a great call with the acting president of South Korea. We talked about their tremendous and unsustainable surplus, tariffs, yada, yada, yada. So yeah, he's making deals with South Korea. So we're going to see a lot of headlines like that, I think, in the next coming days, the next coming weeks. So anyway, the point that I'm trying to make here, guys, is that if you guys remember on Friday, we mentioned the 522 level. Why did we mention 522? It's because whenever the S&P pushed to 522, it failed, right? 522 failed, 522 failed, and then 522 was resistance here. It pushed towards 522 and it failed. Where did the S&P 500 yesterday top out? Where? You want to see? Well, look at this line. 522, it topped out at fucking 522. Do you think that's a coincidence or do you think that's on purpose? A lot of these algos are programmed on the same things that we see, guys. So as long as we're able to identify these key areas, we could trade exactly like these algos and exactly like these robots. So it's not a freaking coincidence that 522 was resistance on Friday and 522 was resistance yesterday. So my thought process is this: 522 should act as resistance again. If 522 does not act as resistance and we blow through 522, then we're going higher. It's that simple, right? It's that simple. But if we test 522, 523, and then we come back down, then that still shows that 522 is the key area on the indexes. So for me, I'm using that 522 to assume trades and to make trades. Now, my go-to stocks for relative strength have been Amazon. Amazon has been the strongest of these stocks rebounding, right? We've seen it over and over and over again. I don't need to figure out why the hell it's Amazon. I just need to recognize that it is Amazon, right? So if I'm looking for overall market bouncing names, I'm going to be looking to buy Amazon because it's the strongest of the bunch, right? So for me, what I'm waiting for is I'm waiting for a little bit more information on what I'm seeing in the markets. Are the markets going to push and break over 522? Are the markets going to use 522 as resistance? I don't know yet, right? I don't know. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for that information to come to me and to determine. I also do have the VIX here because the VIX is a very good indicator of what the sentiment is. The higher VIX goes, the more panic there is in the market. The lower it goes, the less panic we have. So that's kind of a really good gauge for me to determine where the panic is and if it's happening. But that's kind of my overall thought process, is using that same 522 level from Friday, right? It's not a coincidence, the same 522 level. So if we break over 522 and we hold, we're bullish. If we cannot break under 522, then we're bearish. But I do believe that short term, the market has put in a bottom, right? You had guys like Jim Cramer come out and say it's Black Monday. You had Tim Waltz come out and say the market is crashing. Usually when everyone is expecting the market to crash, it does the freaking opposite, right? Whenever everyone's telling you, oh my God, it's a crash, it's a this, it's a that, chances are it's the fucking opposite, man. So that's just one thing you have to understand. But yesterday's dip buys per the watch list were the best thing ever. So coming into today, guys, my mindset is very simple. I'm just looking to see what the overall market is doing. If there is relative strength, I'm going to be buying some Amazon. You know, if there's some relative weakness, I'm going to be trying to, you know, short some other names. But that's kind of my game plan, is keep it simple, stupid, right? Use the 522 area. The biggest problem with this market isn't the market itself, it's the headlines, right? At any moment, at any day, this fucker Trump could come out and say, you know, screw China, or I love China. I love what a magnificent country China is, right? You don't know what the hell this guy's gonna say. And that's what makes it so difficult to trade this market, is everything is driven by one headline. And how do we prove that? Right here. This right here, guys, this headline is a $10 million headline for a trader like us, and is a $1 billion headline for a hedge fund and an institution, right? So you better believe that there's going to be a lot more of these headlines coming out, because it's only human nature. Human nature is greed. So whenever they find that these type of headlines are working, you better believe that more of these headlines are going to come, right? It's that fucking simple. So that's just the main thing here, guys, to understand, is what is going on in the markets, what's happening in the markets, understand the key areas, and take it from there. So with that being said, let's get on to building the watch list. So the way that we build the watch list, we always go to the previous day's watch list first and build from there. So let's start. So let me share. Great plan yesterday to buy mega caps at the open. I bought all these, as mentioned, from yesterday's watch list, and I am already up 10%. I don't plan on selling for at least a year, and ideally watching more dips to add. So what's our plan today? If you remember from Friday, 522 on SPY acted as resistance. That same area acted as resistance yesterday. No surprise. So keeping it simple here, if SPY holds 522 and breaks higher, I will look to buy Amazon, as it has had the most relative strength in the names. But if we just sell off this morning, I will look to short market names and nail and bail. The problem with this market is the headline risk. At any moment, Trump can come out and say anything that moves the market up big or down big. So must be nail and bail mindset only. I am not too focused on small cap stocks today, as I think more opportunity in large caps. NAOV seems like the hot stock for now, so ignoring. So that's my plan, guys. That's my plan. A little bit different of plans in these market cycles. You can see that the S&P 500 is now bouncing more aggressively towards that 522 level. I do believe that we are more bullish than bearish. So I'll definitely be looking to maybe buy some Amazon dips at the market open. But that's kind of what my thought process is today. Yeah, that's pretty much what I got. So the market's looking pretty bullish for now. So if we get a major dip at the market open, I'll definitely be looking to buy some Amazon along. And obviously, guys, I know that a lot of people aren't really interested in a lot of these large cap strategies, but I kind of go to where the money flows. And right now, you can see small caps are kind of not really doing anything, and there is multi-million-dollar opportunities on the large cap stocks. That's kind of where I'm focusing. Obviously, these large cap stocks are a lot more difficult, but I'm just kind of trading them when they make sense. I'm trading them when I feel like they have large opportunity, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. But yesterday, the best possible thing we could have done yesterday is buy those stocks at the market open, because they're already up 10% and they're trekking higher. So that's kind of what I am thinking about. That's kind of what I'm looking for, and that's it. So Steven, I'm going to pass the baton over to you. Maybe you could give us some insight on what you're thinking, what you're doing, and then we'll take it from there, guys.
Sure thing. So one thing that really I was thinking about a lot after yesterday's live trades and yesterday's market action, it's really, and I know Alex mentioned this, and it really tuned, but one headline, not even confirmed, right? And the market, I mean, the S&P went up 13%, right? So it's good to get, on average, it gets 10% per year. 13% in a year would be like a good return. We had 13% in 30 minutes. And I think you guys mentioned, or Alex, you might have mentioned that it's never happened in the history of the S&P, right, or the market. So that happened because the market is just craving, just dying for some good news, right? And that just shows me, this is my opinion, right? That just shows me that any good news that comes in, the market is just ready to take off. You know what I mean? I can't predict the future. I don't know what's going to happen. But I saw yesterday a glimpse of what's possible when some good news comes. So, and I feel kind of like I'm not the only one. I feel like the market in general saw that, and then it dipped down. I think the S&P, the SPY was down to 43, something like that, and then it kind of leveled out. After hours around 5, and obviously this morning it gapped up. But I feel like that kind of turned on lights for a lot of investors, people. It sure did for me. So I'm really feeling better about things, knowing that, as these deals start happening, I think somebody, there was a headline that Trump's meeting with South Korea. As these headlines and deals happen, I'm hoping that the sentiment will keep going forward, but I see that the market's just waiting. I feel like people have cash. They're just, they took it out when they were scared. They're just waiting to put it back. So that's kind of one takeaway for me. So I'm feeling good about my, longer term strategy that I talked about a little bit yesterday, which is essentially dollar cost averaging into the market over the next year. So yeah, that's pretty much what I took away from yesterday. That's the main thing. And I'm just on the lookout now for headlines. I want to get this thing back.
And one more thing I want to add, Steven.
Yeah.
One more thing I want to add,
Sure.
and you're totally right, is look at what the market did when they thought a deal was made. 13 fucking percent. Can you imagine when an actual deal does happen, right? So that's, and also I was talking to some, again, I have like my own circle of, high level traders that I like to bounce ideas from and all this stuff. And what they told me is pretty smart. They said that might have been a test to see what the market really wants, right? So a lot of these big money, a lot of these people around Trump are obviously mega rich and mega billionaires. So I think they might be testing the waters to see what type of news and what type of headline is going to fix the market. And I think they got that yesterday. They realized that if they just make some deals, the market's going to be in good shape. So I think it was kind of also a test for them to see what the hell could happen as well,
Right. So it was, like I said, it was a big eye opener for me, and I was thinking about that all day, all night today. I'm just like, man, so the market's waiting, that was like a really good test. It's just like a test run. So imagine, like you said, if that news was real and, things got put on hold or deals started happening and these tariff threats started going away, then I see us, can't predict the future, but back to where we were, doing pretty good. Yesterday was a lot of strength. If like that news came out yesterday, changed, or it kept going down, I'd be like, man, because I mean, yesterday was doom and gloom. It was like the market opened, it gapped down, it crashed under 500. It was the SPY was 483. I mean, nobody knew like where the bottom was, but a little good news came in, and it was like up $40, right? So. Had it not moved on news, then I'd be like, oh man, I don't know what's going on. But now I'm kind of looking at my dollar cost average plan and thinking, man, I need to space it every 2 weeks instead of once a month now. Because yeah, seriously, like that's just not financial advice, guys, but that's just me. I'm feeling like pretty optimistic about things, and we'll see. I can't tell the future, but I saw a lot of strength yesterday on not much news. So hopefully we get some real news soon and things start changing. So that's kind of my view of it.
Amen.
Yeah. We will see. It's going to be definitely interesting next, couple weeks, couple days. It's going to be interesting.
Great. So let me throw in a couple more things here, guys. So Cobra Trading is our partner broker. We are not really recommending Success Trader anymore. We have an announcement that we're kind of waiting on making. We're waiting on compliance, this, that. So we are no longer recommending Success Trader to our traders. If you have an account there, I would suggest moving your account over to Cobra. They give you 30 days free commissions, 30 days free platform, and 60 days live trading. If you already have live trading access, we add an additional 60 days. And we have a big promotion going on where we're going to be selecting 10 people to come to the New York Stock Exchange with me, which is by invite only. You cannot buy tickets to go there. So that's a really big opportunity. Also, if you guys remember, the last promotion we did with Cobra was coming to a private steak dinner with me in Texas. And I have some good news. I got them to open up 2 more spots. So if you would like to come to our private steak dinner in Texas on May 17th, send me a direct message on Slack and tell me why we should pick you. We have 2 people to select, 2 people to bring. So if you're interested and you want to come, we opened up some spots. Shoot me a direct message after the market open, not now, please. And tell me why we should bring you to dinner with us. So if I was you guys, I'd move your account. We have another big promotion coming up after this, but we are no longer recommending Success Trader for our traders. I have personally closed my account and I'm using Cobra only, and the rates that Cobra offers are 25% cheaper than Success Trader anyway. So we'll make a formal announcement, but that's pretty much it. So big move on Amazon, big move on the markets. Ideally we get a nice dip to buy, and that's pretty much it, guys. So that's it. For the people watching on YouTube, Steven, you want to tell them how they could find more information out?
Sure thing. So if you guys have questions, if you want to join the live trades, if you want to join MIC, feel free to email me. I'm going to type it out now, but Steven, RH1, at myinvestingclub.com. And I will field any questions or inquiries you guys have. Just feel free to reach out. Also, so Alex, I'll be working on my essay after we live trade on why I should be picked, first of all. Second of all, yeah, so like Alex mentioned, if you guys sign up, there's a bunch of perks. One of them obviously is 60 days of live trading. This is for members only. If you guys already have live trading, it doesn't happen automatically. You've got to DM me and show me that you've funded your account. The account's got to be funded, right? So DM me that it's been funded, and we will add the 2 months to, if you don't have any live trades, we'll give you 2 months. If you've got already live trades, then we'll add it, right? If you've got a ton of live trades, you can also donate it to somebody in the community, a tab or whatever. So just let us know what you guys want to do. But really good promos, and definitely recommend you guys switch over.
Yep. So I'm going to be ending the the YouTube live stream here. So just shoot us an email, stevenrh1@myinvestingclub.com, and we're going to get started trading here in just a second. So the market's approaching that 522 area. I would assume the first test is going to be resistance. So I'm thinking the first move off the open is probably going to be a short. That's kind of what I'm thinking is the first move. And then we'll take it from there for everything else. So, yeah, guys, wrapping up here, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.
Yeah. See you guys.